Nice.
as my phone buzzes.
It's a good start.
Well, we've learned the hard way on that over the years.
16 episodes in and you still have your phone on.
Yeah,
That's
and
good.
we're not in our typical place this week. We've been moving, and life's been pretty busy the last couple months. But today we find ourselves here on Sunday morning in Greenville, South Carolina, together. You're about to play in the final round of the BMW Charity Pro-Am.
Which you were my partner in.
Yep.
Sadly,
Yep.
we missed the cut because you had to give back 4 shots as a +4 handicap.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is ridiculous because I didn't have to give any back.
Right.
Therefore, we should have been playing.
I did the math on it. I looked, we would have been in second.
No way.
Yeah. If I was playing to a 0. But it is what it is. It was a great experience. Beautiful golf course, and very fun for me to get to actually be inside the ropes and watch you in your process. You know, Daryl with you guys just going through shot by shot and seeing a great turnaround too. I mean, it was a tough start. You know, we were 3 over through 6 in the first round at Carolina Country Club and stayed with it and ended up fighting back to get into 1 under there in that first round. Felt the momentum going in the right way and kind of been riding that wave ever since. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, thanks, man. And you hit some great shots too.
Yeah.
Stuffed a few in there, tap in.
Yeah.
Which is always a good feeling.
It was fun. We had that one hole at Thornblade, which is really a gorgeous golf course.
It's sick.
Yeah, it's a sick golf course where we each had tap-ins from about $1.50 out, which is always a good time.
It is.
So yeah, it's been a fun week, and now you're off here in a couple hours, which I'm very grateful for your time and sitting down with us before a final round tee time. It's not something I probably would have offered to do, but it's your personality to just be able to chill and sit back and talk, because we've, it's been a while.
Has been a while.
Yeah, we've wanted to do this again, and I think, we both agreed from the start of this. One of the things that we were really focused on was having such an aesthetically beautiful product. We would always be in person with one another. And, we filmed a bunch of great episodes, and we've been so thrilled with the feedback we've gotten from the community and starting to see this thing really take flight, no pun intended. But life's been busy, and you've been committed to playing full time again. And I've had some business stuff that's come up that's been keeping me going. But we're here today, and we want to give a little update and talk shop and a little bit about where things are going too. So
yeah, that's one thing I think about this episode is that just the overall genre is like an appreciation of, I guess we can now say, kind of a fan base. We almost have 20,000 followers a couple months in for Instagram, which, like, we always said that we didn't really care about likes or follows, but when it does happen, it is kind of cool.
it's very cool.
And just some of the comments that we've gotten in the DMs and an appreciation of us sharing our vulnerability and having that affect other people's lives to feel vulnerable to share with us what's going on with them and how it's changed, or help them see the light in whatever conversation it was that they were listening to. And I think that's really cool. And that's really what we're here to do. And obviously, selfishly, it's an amazing thing to have an opportunity to sit in front of some people that we aspire to be like in certain ways and learn from and get motivated by. And having others feel the same thing is just icing on top, cherry on top.
Yeah. And you've experienced that in some capacity, I'm sure, with your journey and your story, playing on tour and going through your health journey. And I know Chelsea and I were talking about that when she was really running the foundation and getting letters from people that were relating to your story and inspired. I've never really been a part of something this directly where you've gotten such vulnerable communication from people that are, tell a deeply personal story about a journey they're going on in their own health, or, we've had a lot of comments about mental health too, which, I think
a huge topic right now.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people really resonated with Aaron's episode. And, I think we were talking last night, Chelsea and I, about, how critical we are on ourselves. Her and I, we were talking about this, and I laugh because I feel like I'm getting better, you know, but I feel like becoming friends with yourself is like a lifelong journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reflecting, I played a golf tournament about a month ago, and my goal going into the day was to be friends with myself. Because if I just wouldn't talk myself out of hitting good shots or out of being kind to myself on a golf course, that's just a great goal for the day.
Yeah,
if no matter exactly,
Yeah.
if it wasn't me that, sabotaged my own day out of, saying, oh, you're not going to do this well, or, it's really it's a tough game you have to play with yourself, but that's why we do it too.
It's funny because it's so easy to say and so easy to tell other people what to do.
Yeah.
But when you think about it like that, of like caddying for yourself, it puts it in perfect perspective, because if you were caddying for me and I had a bad shot, or even like yesterday when you were following around and maybe I missed a shorter birdie putt or something, you're like, oh, come on, let's get it on the next. Or you might not be saying that to yourself. You 100%. Might be like, oh, I suck, or that was stupid. And it's funny because why and where does that come from? It's programming from when we were kids, or seeing others do it, or seeing the people that raised you do it, and not knowing any better. Nowadays, we have so much information at hand, and Instagram has actually been a really good tool for me, because I follow so many people that I look up to and love to see what they're researching and the work that they're doing on themselves and showing others how to do, and seeing testimonials. And we're in a beautiful time that we have so much information at hand, which can be dangerous, but it's also, if you utilize it in the right way, it can change your life a lot faster than it has in the past. Like, I remember growing up as a kid, in my room, I used to have all the encyclopedias and going through, oh, what is this kind of dinosaur? Or like, what is this word? Or use a thesaurus when I'm reading. And it's always that self-research that has kind of propelled me into deeper knowledge and curiosity, I guess. I think a lot of people these days are always looking for an answer outside of themselves, but it's something that now at Nakawa that we really want to teach, that you have the answers inside of you. Like, it might not be obvious, but if you do the research, do the time, and give yourself that time to reflect, it's really important to understand that there's so much information within us already, because we're made up of everything. But I guess getting back on topic here, which I really wanted to touch on, of people sharing the information that they've heard us talk about, is if we haven't replied to your DM yet, like we are reading them, and like, we love you guys so much. It means the world to us by receiving these messages and feeling your heart shared with us. It really means the world, and we thank you for that. I know it takes a lot to share personal stories, and some of these people, when I first got diagnosed and I released my story to the world, I had several people be like, hey, I'm sharing this with you for the first time, and I've never told anyone else other than not even my parents. And it's just like, wow, everyone's going through shit. And that feeling of not being alone sometimes can really be hope and light a fire under you to change and get better.
Yeah.
We're just in a journey that we're always evolving, just like you said. Like, oh, I just feel like I'm getting better, slowly, daily.
And the more I think you can embrace that community concept, right? And feeling like you do have some weight and strength behind you. You do have somebody that's hearing you. And sadly, sometimes it doesn't always come from home, right? What makes me smile right now is just thinking about yesterday. We meet you on the fourth green, and it's myself, Chelsea, your little girl, Rye, Danny, our producer and dear friend, and our, your dog.
A crew.
Yeah, and it just was like, it was just the funniest moment because we just walked up as this absolute unit together in a golf tournament. And
I chipped in right in front of you.
correct. First hole, you chip in for birdie, you get off to a hot start, birdie in 3 of the first 4. But, Yama's just this unit of a dog with this, service dog chest, and it just vest on, and it just made me chuckle because, that's kind of your little crew, and we're unique and we're our own breed, but the love's deep and the support's there, and we're here for you. And I think that helps strengthen and embolden someone when they can feel they're true people that are there regardless of the outcome, right? But we know it's important to you. We know the work that goes into it. So it's just fun to be there to feel the motivation and spirit, and how it relates back to, folks reaching out to us is just to, I think, feel this community strengthen together and get to share their stories. And
exactly.
And
that's what it's about, man. Like, look at all the way back in time. What do the indigenous do? They gather around a fire every night and share stories of their day or of the ancient times, or, fables or theories or things like that. It's having that community and the ability to share your thoughts and feelings or hardships. And that's what Grayson and Charlie Schaefer has done with that company, making it feel like a community, making it have the pack, right? And I feel like with I Can Fly, we're slowly trying to aspire to that and build a community, and hopefully have some really cool events where we can meet some of these people that have been listening in person. I think that'd be really cool. I think even every event that I play in recently, there's players that come up, there's caddies that come up, there's fans. I know that happened to you this week, saying like, oh wow, are you the I Can Fly podcast guy?
Yeah, that was wild. I was in Columbus probably a month and change ago, 5-6 weeks ago, and I was at a bar at like 11 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden this guy taps me on the shoulder and he's like, "Hey, do you have a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "I've watched it." I'm like, that's wild. And
That's wild.
It was, then there was a guy on the golf course the next day. I was playing Muirfield, and this guy was putting up the fence line that runs kind of the property line along Muirfield Village. And I was talking to who I was playing with, and he turns around and he's like, "I know your voice." And the guy was listening to a bunch of our podcast episodes, and we have a conversation.
I know your voice. Wow.
It's like it's the wildest thing. So I was like, it's better to know my face, I guess. It helps. But
that's cool.
No, it's been really special. And I think, moving forward, we our goal is to, come out with these as much as we can. And obviously we each have, competing priorities with families and lives. And you're on a killer journey on tour right now. And but we're going to aim to keep doing these. We may do some virtually, which would be different for us. We kind of wanted to make sure we always did them in person. And I think for all the ones that we can, we know that we will. Yeah. But in the meantime, I think we want to have some conversations that are really focused around how we can, educate, and how we can, go over topics that can really help the listener. And I think that's something we can do digitally, and we're gonna give a shot over some time. Morgan may do some, you may do some by yourself with somebody. I may do some with just me, and we'll see where it goes. Yeah. But either way, we're committed to keep doing this and having fun with it. And
yeah, we have some great guests that have committed already. It's just about finding schedules in this crazy hectic life that we have here. I think one thing I'd like to hear from you, and I'll share after, but maybe share something that you're working on right now in life and what has helped with that.
I would say 2 things. I'm happy you brought it up. As always, these are all unprepared questions. You and I typically write like a couple things that maybe we want to come up with or talk about, but we don't share them with one another. On Friday night, we just played 2 rounds together, and I was journaling just about the couple days and the joy of it and the fun. And for me, the spirit of the competition and getting back into the zone of playing golf, and got some tournaments coming up this year. And, what I was writing about was, you know, so much has changed in life, whether it's family that's, you know, come and gone, or friends, or location even, or, you know, job, whatever it is, things keep changing. If there's any constant in life, I feel it's change.
Yeah.
But one constant that has remained for me is that relationship standing over a golf ball. Like, for those 1 to 3 seconds when I'm over a ball, I just feel completely at home. And it's never changed. And some days it sucks, but man, most it doesn't. And it really never sucks. Some days it's tough and it's not going your way, but that relationship, I just had this overwhelming gratitude over, and it's just like, that's never changed. Just that little ball and me, that distance away, like that, when I'm there, I just feel at home.
Well, it's something that you love to do,
Yeah.
right? And you know that it's almost impossible to perfect.
Oh, it is impossible. That's not almost.
So it's, I think what I'm hearing is finding a love that can continue to light a fire under you, but also take you into a place of only being there, right? I think a lot of people have day jobs that are difficult because they do it because they need the income, but most of their hobbies, whether it's fishing or hiking or mountain biking, climbing, all of those things take you into this place of like, if you're not thinking of just this, you might risk, you know, becoming injured or something like that. So golf, I don't think that's the case, but it does the job.
It brings you into the moment, right? I mean, it's that fractional moment in time. You know, it relates to it, but you know, when you hit a great golf shot, and everybody that's played golf can relate to this because it's relative, but for those couple seconds with the balls in the air, nothing else is on your mind. I mean, it's just, you're so presently just there in that moment.
That's true.
And it's the best. You know, nothing else comes across you. And I think the more, so I want to put this into a bow in terms of the question you just asked, which is, what is something I'm working on? I have been feeling like life is moving so fucking fast. And I don't think it's going to slow down at this point. Jake Block, my best friend, his dad, I remember, gave this great analogy once about how life keeps going faster because every year is, you know, a larger, you know, division component of your life. You've lived 26 years, 1 year's 126, the next year's 127. So time is literally 1 year shrinking relative to your lifetime.
Interesting.
It was a mathematical way of looking at it. Right. But I mean, here we are in early June already, and I feel like I was just, you know, watching the ball drop yesterday for the new year. And time is just, it's just flying by. It feels like something that's, you know, just illusory almost. And so I think one of the things I really want to work on more, and I'm doing, and Danny and I talked about this week a little bit, is finding ways to slow time down momentarily. I've talked a lot about meditation. We've you know, heard it ad nauseum from guests on the show. I've you know, listened to you talk about it a lot. I first learned meditation from Jason Goldsmith when I was 19. I've never done it with any regularity of sort, and I'd be bullshitting to say anything other than that. I've gone on good stretches where a couple weeks I've done it. I've certainly never felt worse after doing it.
Yeah.
But I really, right now, I'm wanting to challenge myself on doing it for even just 2 to 5 minutes, to just slow down, close my eyes, tune into actually feeling my breath, flow through my nose, expand through my lungs. That's kind of one of the things I connect with the most in my breath work or in my meditation, is just feeling oxygen truly spread through my lungs. And then, you know, out my nose or out my mouth, either way. But dropping into those states, I think, is something I really am committing to right now and doing in a daily capacity, because it's just, I feel like this fractional component that if I can work on slowing down time for even those blips, like what came up for me the other day when I meditated for the first time in a long time. My mind was just going so fast, and I was just like, I just need to go upstairs by myself. It was like late at night, And I just closed my eyes for about 10 minutes and just sat there. And I had this amazing meditation. And finally, like some really positive thoughts came to my mind. I just let them come. I wasn't judging them. I didn't try to stop my thoughts. I just was watching them, almost as just clouds in my head. You know, I've heard Ram Dass talk about that as like seeing your thoughts as just a passing cloud in the sky.
That's good.
You can't do anything with the cloud. It's just going to pass by. So just let these thoughts come and go and watch them and listen to them. And I was doing this and just kind of watching these thoughts come and analyzing what they were and not judging them. And when I came out of it, one of the things that stuck with me was all of my writing lately has been so just about me, problems, this, that, and my journaling. But one of the things I love to write about is like, you know, wisdoms and things that I'm coming up with or learning from someone. And then ultimately writing about, okay, how does this relate to someone else? So I've been trying to write lately more about, you know, how I can help others or what I'm learning and how I can share it.
That's cool.
And that all came out of slowing down for 5 minutes.
Isn't it crazy how you just like ebb and flow through life and it's completely okay. Like you realize and you're aware that, okay, for the last few months, it's been very selfish.
Yeah.
But like now it's transitioning into, okay, I want to talk about or think about others and how I can help. And
100%.
it's like, oh, wow. Like I wasn't a dick by just thinking about myself back then. It's just that life, as you said, it's not a constant. It's always changing.
Yeah.
One thing I love that I want to touch on what you said about clouds and the thoughts and the mind is when I first started meditating pretty heavily when I was living in Nepal for a while. And I did an inner engineering 7-day meditation workshop from Sadhguru.
Oh, sure.
And he's unbelievable. If no one knows who that is, it's spelled Sadhguru.
Yeah.
Look him up. He has some amazing speeches on YouTube and just like philosophies. He has a book called Inner Engineering.
Huh.
Really cool. But one of his meditations, which I didn't understand, I didn't know how to grasp, was I am not the body. I am not the mind. I am. And I was like, all right, I can kind of understand I'm not the body, but I feel like I am still the body because I can control it. But then the mind one, I didn't get at all. But now, years later, I can understand both very well. And it's just crazy to think that we are not our thoughts because we can control our thoughts. I can control what I'm thinking about your shirt right now or your hat, or it's just, it's wild to understand that we are neither our body or our thoughts. We are the thing, entity, energy looking at, watching over all of that. And it's really hard to understand. And there's a lot of books and teachers that can help understand that. But it took me a long time and it doesn't happen overnight. It's just like changing your diet. You know, you need to understand what you're doing, what these foods can do for you, what the bad ones or the preservatives or the antibiotics that are added, all like you need to understand what that does in full comprehension for you to be able to grasp it, to be like, okay, I can relate to this. I can fully immerse myself in the whys and then move on. Because if I tell you, oh, don't drink coffee, you'll be like, oh, whatever, I like it. It helps me. My understanding is that it gives me a pick me up in the morning and I feel great. But like doing deeper research on it, and once again, going back into what we were talking about earlier, is there's so much information, and you type in, is coffee good online? And there'll be 50% saying it's amazing and 50% saying it's terrible. So it's tough, man. Like it's a really tough place to be in, but to bring it back into the clouds and the thoughts, it's just really special that we are living this human experience right now. I think we're very lucky to be on this plane and this dimension to be able to enjoy this life because we're just energy, and it's really, really amazing when you can go into those meditations and kind of understand that in a way of that deep feeling of I'm more than just this or my 9-to-5 job kind of
Yeah.
thing.
And I'm curious, like we've gotten dozens of messages that are really general curiosities about, okay, this conversation, this topic has opened my mind. Now what? Right? What book should I read,
Right.
or where could I begin to explore, myself in some capacity or whatever it is. So in this kind of nugget of a conversation, we've talked about meditation. I think things are intimidating. You think you got to do this big thing, but it's really not. And it can be as simple as something you can do for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And just
And it's very
explore,
beneficial.
right? Close your eyes, tune into your breath, and just listen to what comes up for you. But I'm curious, as I point that back to you, like what do you think is a great starting point for anyone, for that matter, that is curious about kind of exploring who they are or their spirituality, or just as in general listening to one of these conversations and a question's coming up for them that they don't really even know what the question is. They're just curious.
Man, so many thoughts are going through my mind of where to start. I guess right now, it's funny you answer questions in the way of how you are in this time, like at this moment,
Now.
like this might not be the best answer, but it's what I'm feeling is right now is breath work. Just because I think it can be such a portal to self-discovery, learning the mechanics of how to breathe properly, learning the mechanics of how to breathe in a very deep way and to do it for an extended period of time to have pretty amazing effects on the mind, the body, the spirit, the enlightenment, if you will.
Yeah.
And there's this one app who our friend and my breathwork coach and life coach, Gio Bartholomew, has. It's called Elemental Rhythm. You can download it on your iPhone or go on the website. But it's really amazing. He has 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 50-minute breathworks, which are also meditations. Some are heavier and deeper than others. And I think it's just a really great way to feel something different without having to try some kind of stimulant like a drug. This will do it.
Yeah.
Like it's
1,000%.
you'll come out of it like what just happened.
Yeah.
And I have this at my beck and call.
Yeah.
Like I can breathe at any time. I can do a deeper breath work. Like it's totally wild.
You can have fully psychedelic experiences with nothing but your own oxygen.
For
like
sure.
It's wild. And then what came up for me in asking that question and having those curiosities is to start with a question to yourself. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Why is this triggering something in me? And just there's a great book that Chet Scott turned me on to called Change Your Life, Change Your Questions. It might be Change Your Questions. I think it's Change Your Questions, Change Your Life.
Yeah.
And it's written in an extremely easily digestible way, a kind of a fun story-like way. And but it's really teaches you how to ask yourself these kind of mind-opening questions that lead you into a more of a positive light rather than these shutting down comments of like, why am I asking myself this, and the negative questions, but the positive mind-opening experiences. And that's a great place to start too, is just asking yourself a simple question. Why is this making me curious?
I completely agree with you. Actually, that's one of the toughest things that I've ever done when I was taking time away from golf is asking myself the questions that I didn't really want to ask myself. Like, do I want to play golf still? Do I need to play golf still? Do I love golf? Do I identify solely as a golfer?
Yeah.
And it was really hard. Is because I was like, oh damn, I'm gonna really have to trace this back to my father wanting me to play good, and like, am I living out his goal? Is it just mine now? Is it like, what's motivating me? Does the thing that I'm doing in my life as a job add value to my life?
Yeah.
Is it creating longevity? Like, ask yourself those questions and sit with them with no distractions.
Yeah.
And see what happens. It might be life-changing in itself.
Amen. Yeah. That reminds me of our conversation with Rogers again, where he talked about football later in his life, realizing it's been one of the great love stories of his life. And watching you these last few days, and I can't wait to watch you today. But getting to see you be an artist on the golf course and be yourself, it's very clearly a love story, and it's a pretty special one. And I'm pumped to see you out playing again.
Thanks, bro.
And it's a long journey. Regardless of today, we keep going.
Yeah.
It's one long round. There might be an 18th hole, but it leads to the first hole of the next round.
Exactly.
It's one long round.
I like that.
Cool.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Let's do it.
Love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.